Good morning, gang. Happy Thursday morning. Okay, here we go again. Something to pay attention to for all those of you in Georgia, Ohio, and Michigan. We have yet another food recall. If we go into this, American Foods Group, doing business as Green Bay dressed beef, has recalled 58,000 pounds of ground beef. Okay, now I'll link the article below so you guys can check lot numbers on anything that you may have bought if you live in those three states, just to make sure that you don't have it. But apparently, we have yet another E. coli problem with processed meat. You know, what was it, 3 or 4 days ago? I was telling you guys about Spam through HEB down in Texas that had problems. Again, processed meat. Now, I want you to realize this. We're not having a problem with the ranchers. We're not having a problem with the cows. We're having a problem with the processing plants. Again, start putting puzzle pieces together. You have, let's just say, 50 ranchers that all sell their cattle at the same auction. That auction, now you have 10 auction houses or whatever it is. Take the cattle that are purchased there to go to slaughter, and they all go to one processing plant. So where is the problem? The problem is in the processing. The problem isn't with any of the producers. What better way to try to restrict food distribution than to go after the processing? Now, I'm speculating here, okay? But I want to give you something to think about. Could we have a problem? Yes. Is it as nefarious as somebody's going into the plant and say, hey, don't process that so much, we want to get people sick? No. As much as somebody may want to believe it, I can't go that far logically in my head and think that somebody's that sinister that they're trying to do it. Okay. But what I can see is this. We have a work ethic in this country that's total shit, okay? It's worse than I've ever seen anywhere in my life. Nobody wants to work, and, everybody's like, how can I get out of work? I got a hangnail this morning, boss. I can't come in. Okay. We're hiring lower quality employees in companies. Inflation is hitting companies hard. So they're trying to figure out where to cut costs anywhere they can. And the ultimate person who suffers is the consumer, okay? Hear me out on this. We have, let's just use the fast food workers, for example, okay? They were making minimum wage, depending on the state. That used to be somewhere between $7 and, say, $10 an hour. We need $15 an hour to make French fries. Now we got California. They're trying to pass a law that says they get $20 an hour. Okay? $40,000 a year to sit there and put salt on French fries. Just say high quality, high skill workers there. 40 grand. Remember, average wage in the country is 50. So, production. There you go. Contribution to society. We have all this importing of people across the border and screaming of governors in New York. We need to get them work papers so they can go to work. Now think about this from the company standpoint. This is a meat processing plant, okay? All the stories we've heard about chicken processing, pork processing, it's basically filled with immigrants and tons of illegals, okay? So these are the people potentially that could be in these processing plants. What are the conditions? What do they care? Okay, they just want that greenback that they can send back to their family in Matamoros or something like that, and that's that. No concern for the quality of their work. They just want quantity. Pump out more ground beef. Pump out more ground beef. Is this possible? The companies need to save money. They're going to hire the cheapest person they can, i.e. illegals, right? So we get all these illegals in. Now your food is in trouble. The government kind of goes, well, acceptable losses. Okay. Just somehow to speculate on that, the only way we ever get to the truth is by looking at ulterior ideas, because the powers that be do not expect us to think about nefarious actions. How do criminals operate? Okay. They try to think of the ways to do things that the people won't catch them. So if everybody goes through life with blinders on and goes, well, it came through this plant, therefore it must be good, if you have that kind of naivety, then you're going to believe it. If you start thinking about the ramifications, going back, try to get into the bad guys' minds, try to get into the politicians' minds, try to get into some of these crooked corporations' minds and figure out what they're trying to do. That's how you get to the truth. You question everything. And that is what I try to do. I question a lot of things. I look for what could possibly be going on here. What could be the ulterior motive? I mean, for years we've heard about depopulation. Hey, what better way to depopulate people than to starve them out? Well, let's see if we can make the food that's not good for them. Hey, if we get rid of a few that way, if we scare people from eating meat, gee, maybe that would do something good for our climate change. If we make fertilizer so expensive that farmers can't afford it, so they can't afford to feed their cows, so therefore we can get meat off the market. If we have inflation go so high on groceries that people can't afford to eat meat, but bugs are cheap, maybe they go that way. Start thinking about all the different ways that they can do this. It can't be one big thing. One big thing becomes too obvious. But if you put a bunch of little things together, if you have a dollar bill, okay, and you go to the bank and you say, okay, give me 100 pennies, for example. If you get rid of 5 pennies here and 5 pennies there, it's not as noticeable if you get rid of 75 pennies all at once, and all of a sudden you look down and you go, oh, I still got 95, I'm good. I've still got 90, I'm good. But if all at once you go, crap, I've only got 25, now what am I going to do? Okay. That's where I have a feeling this is going. You hear all these stories about Russia, Ukraine, and the Army War College talking again in their September issue about, maybe we might wind up going to war. And oh yeah, their estimates, it'll cost the American public 50,000 troops that's dead per month. Okay. They're talking about the draft again, just to give you an idea. But that eliminates some people. Remember, this is the whole idea, is depopulation. We've been told this over and over, and nobody wants to believe it. Nobody thinks it's possible. But when you start looking at all the little things that they do here and here, gee, let's legalize drugs. That'll kill a few off. Let's make everything so expensive. That'll kill a few off. I mean, we've got the highest suicide rate in history in the United States right now. Are you hearing anything about it? Are they doing anything to stop it? You're not even hearing lip service on it. Oh, that kills a few more off. This is the idea, guys. This is what you should at least consider as what's going on. I'm not saying this is fact or anything, but this is kind of how my mind works. That they are not out to help us. Okay, they are out figuring out every easy way to get rid of us, that it's not right there in front of you and you go, well, gee, they put everybody in a firing squad in the middle of the street. Okay, they're not doing that. They're trying to, through back channels, through the back door, make it more and more difficult for people to survive. As usual, like everything else, it behooves you to cut out the middleman as best as possible, to make arrangements with the local rancher to get the beef or pork or chicken or whatever yourself, to learn how to process it yourself. I mean, we're coming into deer season, right? Okay. Learn how to process those animals. I showed you on me learning how to process a rabbit the other day. Start learning that stuff, or at least start finding people where you can avoid the middleman. Because the more problems that we have here, how bad does it get when people don't feel safe buying food from the grocery anymore? I mean, we've had a couple of dozen food recalls already this year, and all of them seem to be E. coli. Sure, some people get vomiting or diarrhea from E. coli. Some people die from it. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or whatever. I'm trying to look past the obvious, because most people, and what nefarious players count on, is that you only look at the obvious. You need to look past. And when you look past, that's where you start finding the truth. Pinball out.